Welcome to the Necromancer Starter Survival Build Guide for Diablo 3 Patch 268 and Season 20. The best way to start off any season is to use your Challenge Rift bag, dude. Do not do it. As of right now, it is Thursday the 27th. We still don't know when this season's gonna start. It's gonna be the 6th of March or the 13th, Friday the 13th. We have no idea. Just don't do your Challenge Rift. There's no point of even doing it this late in the season, right? Just don't even do it at all from here on out. That way you can make a seasonal character and claim your Challenge Rift bag. If you're struggling and you can't do the Challenge Rift, it's because you're so new, you have never done a Challenge Rift before. So a Greater Rift before. So you have to do a Greater Rift, at least any level Greater Rift to unlock Challenge Rifts. And then yeah, I'll show you why we save the Challenge Rift. It's because you get this bad boy right here. All these fatty materials. We have enough to unlock all of our professions. We can cube stuff. We can use the cube to upgrade a weapon. And in some cases, like Necromancer's case, it's really, really powerful. So this whole video is basically around the Challenge Rift cache. So the first thing we do with that is look at level 1 blood shard recommendations. The reason why we roll at level 1, because there's only 2 options in the item pool available. If you look at the level 70, there is a bunch of rings, right? It's too many. But if you just roll it right away at level 1, since we have the blood shards anyway, there's a 1 in 2 chance to get the skeletal mage ring. I recommend the skeletal mage ring, but there is a case for the gloves, as if you do get the legendary, it's a 100% chance to get grasps of essence. It's like a multiplier, 500% to corpse explosion. So you could do this if you want to play it safe, but I don't think we need to use this anymore. I would go straight into rings because it's such a huge damage increase. Like the mages are going to be for your speed build. It could be for your push build. You could use it for like the Blood set, which is the starter set for season 20. You can use it for the Rothma set, the Bludd set. Pretty much mages are everywhere. And I would just go for the ring. You know, if you get your ring right away at level 1, if you're one of the lucky ones, you can go for the Dainty's Binding at level 22. So just hold the rest of your shards until you hit 22, or you can just save them until 70. It doesn't really matter. Roll, you know, offhands at 70. That's cool too. In addition to this really rock solid start, you can get an upgrade. So Necromancer has it easy. It's kind of bad that they only have 4 weapons, 2-handed weapons. They have 4 2-handed weapons and 4 one-handed scythes. But it is beneficial because it's easy to limit the item pool. So if you upgrade a scythe, you could get the Funeri pick or the Jessith, which is not going to help you at all. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do 2-handed scythes. You have a 100% chance to get a multiplier. It makes your season really, really easy every season going forward. So there's no way for me to know which of the 4 you're going to get. So we're going to include 4 starter builds in the description for each one. So the Bloodtide Blade gives you 400% for every enemy within 25 yards, which is really powerful. It does suffer on single target fights, but you can just add Singularity. Like a Singularity spell just to use that during Rift Guardian, and it does help tremendously. The Maltorious Petrified Spike costs less essence and does up to 700% damage. So you can go get the cube at level 1 and put these in right away and start kicking ass, right? Nayers gives you 500% with 5 different poison spells. Typically I use 4 different poison spells so I can use Blood Rush. But yeah, you could. And then Relena's does all damage based on max essence, so make sure you use a scythe or a 2-handed scythe, an offhand, or make sure you put it in your Paragon when you get it. Make sure you use the passive that gives you essence. So that's just basically a general damage, and you can slot Relena's into basically every build in the game. Especially with the seasonal theme, you can put anything in any cube. So like here's an example right here of what the builds look like. You can put like the furnace in the armor slot or whichever way you want to with the seasonal theme. The only thing I wouldn't run right away to get is, I believe, Death Nova. You don't learn Death Nova until level 12. So even if you put it in the cube at level 1, you can't use it anyway till level 12. So it doesn't really. But all the other ones are safe. Like you get the other abilities like Bone Spear right away. You get poison skills right away. So this one you could wait till level 10 or until you get like movement speed on your boots, so it's not such a long run. They misspelled the blood tide blade. Yeah. True, man. Necro has it pretty cush because of the way the weapons are, you know? For leveling skills, as a Necromancer, I'd go full pets, man. I'd go like golems, skeletons, mages, whatever combination of you want. Necromancer has a really easy time leveling, similar to Witch Doctor, because of the pets do a lot of damage. Like the scaling is really good early on. You can't really make a mistake. You can even use revive to revive enemies from the corpses. It's one of the chillest leveling experiences. The only problem is when you get your level 70 item and you bump it up, you're going to be a squishy boy. So having that Dainty's binding or having something to give you damage reduction will really help for sure. So leveling like on say hard or master, no problem. But once you bump it up to like Torment 1 through 6, because of your level 70 weapon, it might be problematic. So you have to pay attention to that. When you do your upgrade, one more thing to note, make sure it's not ancient, right? So if you have a weapon and you upgrade it and it rolls ancient, you might not want to cube it. You might want to use it for level 70. You also might want to check the secondary and see if it rolled with reduced level requirement. So leveling from like 1 to 30 isn't difficult at all, right? So what I'm trying to say is if you look at the secondary, you can actually get reduced level requirement by 40 on an ancient specifically. So you have a 1 in 10 chance to get an ancient weapon, and it could roll with this. So you can actually equip this bad boy at level 30. So just pay attention to the secondary if it's ancient. If it's not ancient, you can cube it and forget it. It doesn't really matter. You're not gonna have any Forgotten Souls to reroll it, but you will have like about 3 extra Death's Breaths laying around. But by the time you hit level 30, you'll probably get a few crappy legendaries that you can just salvage and re-roll this. So there's gonna be lucky people that do get it, so just pay attention and make sure it's not ancient. And you would rather wear an ancient weapon typically if it rolled well anyway. You wouldn't wanna, you know, the leveling is like 2 hours and then your season's gonna be hundreds of hours. So you gotta think long term for sure. So let's say this doesn't happen, it rolls non-ancient, and you put it in the cube, you're gonna need a level 70 item. So when you hit level 40, you're gonna go to the blacksmith, you're gonna make a 2-handed mace. Unless you have Relena's in the cube, then you might wanna go for that max essence possibly. But either way, you're gonna make a level 70 mace or scythe. I'd probably still do mace just because it limits the options for the secondaries. So you can see right here, there's a 1 in 4 chance to get reduced level requirement as long as you leave the crowd control on the weapon. So don't touch the crowd control as a secondary. If the item you're rolling doesn't have any crowd control, make another one. Don't even deal with it. Stay far away from it. 2-handed mighty weapon, or 2-handed mace, sorry. We'll see what this gives us. See, no crowd control, this is dead to us. And then I would roll it about 4 times. This one has crowd control. This is a good one as a secondary. We're gonna leave it on because if you take it off, then you have 1 in all of these chances to get reduced level requirement. But if you leave it and you reroll the other property, then there's a 1 in 4. It could actually be 1 in 3 if you get life on hit also as a primary. So it could actually be less, but typically it's gonna be 1 in 4. You click reroll, and I got level reduced by 22. So I could equip this at 48, right? So now you can have a level 70 beast weapon very early on. And it's just like another thing for the season, right? It just takes like 1 minute to go to town, make it, re-roll it. If you get it, you don't, and you move on, right? And keep it pushing. So all this stuff is a lot of buildup, but it really just takes a minute to do it. As you're leveling and you're crushing it, you could probably bump it up to T1 at least, probably all the way up to T6 at the most. And you want to start looking for a cooldown because Land of the Dead, you're going to be using mages, you're going to be spamming lots of mages in Land of the Dead. So I'd probably look for double crit cooldown gear everywhere. Depending on what item you get, it's going to completely dictate your build path. So like we talked about earlier, I'm going to include a build for everything. So like, let's say you get Relenus, right? You're probably going to build into Singularity, and you're going to focus on extending those mages and getting your cooldown back. And Overwhelming Essence gives you more essence for more mage power. This is something you'd build into. And then if you get Nayers, you need a lot of poison spells, so you'd still use Contamination mages, maybe Bone Spirit with poison, Dislocation with poison. So you can see how each build would definitely change your build path. They'll all be there in the description, and then you can just click on whatever you get from your upgrade. You're 70 and you're doing your Hadric's Gift to get your Trigul set. The Trigul set's good. You could complete that. You could be like, nah, Bludd, I like my weapon, I'm gonna play Laud. So Laud gem drops as the second gem guaranteed now. The first gem you get is powerful. The second gem you get is Legacy of Dreams. If you haven't been here for a while, the Legacy of Dream gem allows you to use the Legacy of Nightmare set on one item, basically. While you have no set bonuses equipped, every legendary item you have equipped increases your damage by 97% and reduces your damage taken by 2%. It's doubled for Ancient. It's the same exact bonus as the Ring set. It's the same exact bonus. So this is like a level 0, and you can start using it right away. It's a nice build progression. And then so you're leveling, and then you hit 25, and then you get the double bonus. You can level it all the way up to 99. So you could just go full Dream Start with your two-handed weapon, or you can build into Trigul Fang, or into Trigul set, sorry. So the Trigul set, Blood Rush gains the effect of every rune. The 4-piece is your damage reduction. The 6-piece gives you a damage increase. This is great for the most part, and it works with 3 out of the 4 items. If you're confused how the Bluddshed works, it only gives you a bonus based on a percentage of the life it takes away from you. So like Death Nova costs 10% health, and it gives you a bonus. So the Death Nova weapon would work. Skeletal Mage, Life Support costs health, so that would work with the Blood set. You have to use these abilities. Bone Spear, Blood Spear costs 10% health, so it'll work with the Blood set. The only thing that doesn't work is Nayers. So if you happen to get like a Nayers start, it only gives you damage bonus on poison. Poison doesn't take health away. So you literally you can't use Nayers, or you would switch to the Blood set if you want to play that. So that's really the only thing that kind of pigeonholes you. But Nayers is probably the best one to get, so it's pretty balanced in that regard, I guess. They changed the way the Sage set works. You can get a Sage belt. So now Necromancer finally can use belts. They changed it a few seasons ago. It's called Sage Ribbon. So until you get your 6-piece, you can use that. Make it as soon as possible. As soon as you max out your blacksmith, it unlocks. You can get it right away. We talked about the gems and how you can get those early. Reaper's Wraps. If you're level 70 on any difficulty, even normal difficulty, you'll get Reaper's Wraps pattern from Malthael. So just show up for the kill if you're with a group. Make sure you accept it. Get that Reaper's Wraps. It'll give you tons of resources. You're going to use it for your speed build later on also. Endgame discussion, I guess. We're in the endgame now, boys. This one is hard to pin down how Necro's going to perform in groups. The meta is, in my opinion, not defined yet. But there's a good chance Corpse Lance is the best Rift Guardian killer. There's a chance Necromancer, Poison Nova is the wave clear, right, for the meta. So for the push meta, it's possible that Necro lands a spot. It's a high probability, but we don't know for sure. I can't say if you roll Necro, you're going to be DPS. Like, there's no way. There's no way to say 100% sure. We're going to wait for the Asian servers to go live and see what they play, and then we'll know what the meta is, basically, is what we do. In case you guys don't know. One thing we know for sure is rat runs are going to be king. And I'm going to link the ZE boys. I got SVR and Rob's video on their rat run speed farming meta. They've been doing the metas for a while now, like literally like the charge bar meta, season 16, SVR created Bazooka, and they did the whole like the Ren barb, the triple Ren barb last season, all this stuff. So I'm gonna link their video in the description if you're gonna be, because you're gonna be playing route runs if you're playing Necro, most likely. It's gonna be the most effective way to farm Paragon by far, so I would do that. For group play, that's the only thing that's certain is the route run. For pushing, I'm gonna include my Corpse Lance build. I'm thinking Corpse Lance might be one of the strongest. Here's what it looks like. We're kind of working through it on stream today a little bit. Corpse Lance is a very toxic playstyle, but it's really highly skill based. Yeah, it's only an elite hunter, and you only really DPS during your Land of the Dead cooldown. It's pretty toxic, but it's gonna hit really hard. So the thing that I changed with the seasonal theme right now is I'm wearing dainties. I dropped the Witching Hour, and then I put Furnace in the cube. Since we only hunt elites, it kind of synergizes nicely. We should be able to get double kills a little bit easier. And then, you know, for the RGK, as soon as I get a build, I'll put it in the description. I'll try to just fill the description with as much content as I can. That way you guys have that. For Singularity, a little more practical push build. Our boy Fluff over here, he said, this is the top build probably. I'm gonna put this in the description. I think you can have Perma Land of the Dead also, but you can also pick up Trigul's Carotid Fang. So now you can have Relena's, Trigul Fang, and Scythe of the Cycle. So it's just like an extra 200% damage on top of everything. So like Lod Singularity would probably be the best Singularity push version of the build. For speed runs, I'll include speed builds. Lod Singularity is one of the best builds in the game for speeds. Really fast, really good for bounties. All you do is cast your mages. You don't even have to look at the screen. Everything just gets one shot. If you're hovering, if you don't know, if you're hovering over an elite with your mouse cursor, when you're summoning the mages like this, they will attack your target. You can actually control them. I don't know if everybody knows that. You can actually control the mages. I guess that just about does it for Necromancer. Nothing is defined except for the route run meta. The push builds are pretty locked in. The speed build's pretty locked in. It's just that 4-player meta we don't know. You can go back on an alternate Necromancer, make a level 1, and you have 100% chance to get a Scorched Necklace if you roll amulets. Typically rolling amulets is dumb, but if there's only one outcome, then you can put it in the cube and have a huge DPS increase. You can do that with the ring we talked about. You can do that with Dainty's Binding. If you want to put it in the cube, you can go to level 22 and get a Dainty's Binding. It won't take, I mean, if you had a XP gem, you know, once you're 70 and you never got this to drop, you can always go back and get that. You can use this trick with like wizards also. You can go back and all the Archon stuff is at a low level, like Fazula's at 33 and the Swami's at 30, which we talked about in the video. You can go back with all the characters and, you know, limit the item pool to get things that you really need to get early game. Cardsy says Singularity Mages damage depends on the essence used to summon them. Yeah, you want to pretty much only drop it at a full tank, but you know, when you're leveling or when you don't have your full build, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta half cast it, but typically at a high level, you're only gonna want to cast at full resource, right? Like at level 70, fully optimized with all your items. A lot of times people ask me, how much cooldown do you need for Necromancer? Literally everywhere. Besides maybe the amulet, you go double crit and then elemental damage. But yeah, literally everywhere else you can squeeze. I mean, it's just a starved for cooldown. If you're using the cold rune on Corpse Lance, it actually crits. You can not bring crit. So Brittle Touch, every time it hits, it gives you more and more crit on that target. So yeah, you could probably drop it off the amulet and you can go like elemental damage and then cooldown and then crit damage. That should just about do it for the Necromancer video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to all the patrons, the Twitch subs in chat today. Being good for the most part. I appreciate all the support over the years. I like making these starter guides, even though it does take a considerable amount of time to put it all together. I appreciate everything. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Bluddshed, and I'm not leaving. Bye YouTube, but I am leaving YouTube. Peace.